Hello and Fáilte. Welcome to my channel here on Lora O'Brien on YouTube. And if you are just new to this, we are reading through the Táin Bó Cúailnge, the Cattle Raid of Cooley. And we are working with Joseph Dunn's translation, which was from 1914 and is freely available. So there's links to everything below. So make sure that you check it out. You can read along with me. Or you can just watch the video, of course. You can skip ahead if you want to read a bit more, if we're being too slow for you. But I am trying to get out a video a week at least on this. And there's usually 1 to 2 other videos or blog posts. I'm doing about 3 pieces of content every week currently. So make sure that you are on the blog at loraobrien.ie. Some great resources over there. And of course, here on the YouTube channel that you are subscribed and you've liked it and everything. So we are going to fire on with part 19 is actually in 4 parts. It's 19 A, B, and C, 19 and 19 A, B, and C. So we're probably going to do the first 2 now today, and then we'll do the next ones in the next video. Okay. Thank you for all the comments on my hair. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate it in spirit, but I just would prefer that people weren't commenting on my appearance generally, for good or ill. I think that, you know, we're here for the content, and while I do appreciate the spirit of it, it's unnecessary. So thank you, but you know, I think it only encourages the reduction of female presenting people on the internet to their appearance, and I don't want any part of that, and I hope that you would maybe reconsider before you take any part of that. Okay, thank you. So we are going to talk about the Battle of Fergus and Cuchulain, and so Fergus is he's a former Ulster king, and he would have been certainly a mentor to Cuchulain back up in Ulster, but he is one of the exiles who have ended up in Maeve's court because the Ulster king was being a dickhead, basically. And that's a whole other rave scala, a whole other pre-tale of the Táin. But yeah, so a gang of them from Ulster ended up over in Connacht, taking refuge with Maeve and being hosted by Maeve and all that good stuff. And Fergus has been betraying Maeve left, right, and centre to try and protect Ulster. And yeah, there's none of them really in the Táin that are showing their best side consistently, is there? It's a whole kind of what not to do, really. So anyway, the Battle of Fergus and Cuchulain. The hosts of the 4 grand provinces of Éireann pitched camp and entrenched themselves for that night at the pillar stone at Crickross, the borders of Ross. Then Maeve called upon the men of Éireann for one of them to contend and do battle with Cuchulain on the morrow. And every one of them spake thus: "It shall not be I, it shall not be I," cried each from his place. "No victim is owing from my people." So Cuchulain at this point has been destroying anybody who comes before him. So they've all just had enough at this point. So thereupon Maeve summoned Fergus to go forth and contend and fight with Cuchulain, for that the men of Éireann had failed. "Ill would befit me," quoth Fergus, "to fight with a callow young lad without any beard, and mine own disciple." Howbeit Maeve murmured sore that Fergus forswore her combat and battle. They bode the night in that place. Early on the morrow Fergus rose, and he fared forth to the place of combat where Cuchulain was. So Maeve and Fergus are also sleeping together. So he's kind of double betraying her. And yes, she's married to Alil, but she also takes lovers as she will. That was actually one of the conditions of her marriage, so that her husband didn't get jealous, because she would definitely be taking lovers. So it seems like they stayed the night together in that place, and then Maeve was pissed off, basically, that Fergus was not going to combat and battle for her, effectively. So He got up anyway the next morning and went to the place of combat where Cuchulain was. So Cuchulain saw him coming nigh. A vain surety is the one wherewith my master Fergus comes to me, for no sword is in the sheath of the great staff he bears. It was true what he said. A year before this tale, Ailill had found Fergus going to a tryst with Maeve on the hillside in Cruachan, and his sword on a branch nearby him. And Ailill had torn the sword from its sheath and put a wooden sword in its stead, and vowed he would not restore him the sword till came the day of the great battle. So that whole thing about Maeve's husband's not being jealous, Ailill maybe didn't really get that memo. So it matters not to me, O fosterling, replied Fergus, for had I a sword in this, it never would cut thee, nor be plied on thee. But by the honour and training I bestowed upon thee and the Ulstermen, and Concord bestowed, give way before me this day in the presence of the men of Erin. Truly I am loath to do that, answered Cuchulain, to flee before any one man on the cattle spoil of Coolna. Nay then, it is not a thing to be taken amiss by thee, said Fergus, for I in my turn will retreat before thee, when thou wilt be covered with wounds, and dripping with gore, and pierced with holes in the battle of the Táin. And when I alone shall turn in flight before thee, so will all the men of Erin also flee before thee in like manner. So Fergus, once again, is offering him a betrayal to the men of Erin. So it's like a show, basically. What's the word when a fighter throws the match? So he's asking Cuchulain to throw the match this time, and then he can kind of keep one in the bag where Cuchulain really needs it when he's, wounded and dripping with gore. And basically, if Fergus turns around and turns in flight before him at that point, so he'll be left alone. Basically, everyone will flee. So zealous was Cuchulain to do whatever made for Ulster's weal, that he had his chariot brought to him, and he mounted his chariot, and he went in confusion and flight from Fergus in the presence of the men of Erin. The men of Erin saw that. He has fled from thee, O Fergus, cried all. Pursue him quickly, Fergus, Maeve cried, that he do not escape thee. Nay then, said Fergus, I will pursue him no further, for however little ye may make of the fight I have put him to, none of the men of Erin could have obtained so much as that of him on the Cowcree of Coolna. For this cause, till the men of Erin take turns in single combat, I will not engage again with this same man. Hence, here we have the White Battle of Fergus, and it is for this cause it is called the White Battle, because no blood on weapons resulted therefrom. So Fergus has set them up, basically, and is, so I think the rest of that is pretty self-explanatory. We will see what happens next. We have 19A, the HeadPlace of Ferchu. So Ferchu Longcheck, the exile, although of the Connacht men, was engaged in battle and plunder with Ailill and Maeve. So here we have a Connacht man exiled presumably into Ulster, or at least out of Connacht, and coming against Connacht in coming against Ailill and Maeve, really. From the day these came to the kingship, there never was a time that he fared to their camp, or took part in their expeditions, or shared in their straits, or their needs, or their hardships, and he was ever at their heels, pillaging and plundering their borders and land. At that time he sojourned in the eastern part of Mackay, that's at Cruachan. 12 men was his muster. He learned that a single man checked and stopped 4 of the 5 grand provinces of Erin from Monday at summer's end till the beginning of spring, slaying a man on the ford every one of those days, and 100 warriors every night. He weighed his plan privily with his people. What better plan could we devise, quoth he, than to go and attack yonder man that checketh and stoppeth 4 of the 5 grand provinces of Erin, and bring his head and his weapons with us to Ailill and Maeve. However great the injuries and wrongs we have done to Ailill and Maeve, we shall obtain our peace therefore, if only that man fall by our hand. So they're kind of done this either 12 or 13, it's unclear. I presume him and 12. So we have this group of 13 outcasts, basically, exiles. And they've been against Ailill and Maeve for a long time. And their plan now is to go and take Cuchulain down so that they can gain favour with Ailill and Maeve and make peace. Now, this was the resolve they took, and they proceeded to where Cuchulain was. And when they came, it was not fair fight nor combat with one they vouchsafed him, but at one and the same time, there is just 12 of them, so it's him and 11 others. At one and the same time, the 12 men fell upon him. Cuchulain turned on them, and straightway he smote off their 12 heads. And he set up 12 stones in the earth for them, and he put the head of each one of them on its stone. Oh, no. And he likewise put Ferchu Longshek's head on its stone. So we're going to go with 13. I know it's probably irrelevant, but it seems interesting. So there was actually 13 of them. There was 12 and Ferchu Longshek. So hence Kinnet Ferchan Longshek is henceforth the name of the place where Ferchu Longshek left his head, to wit, Ceann Áit Ferchan, the head place of Ferchu. So we're going to leave that there, and we'll come back with 19B and C the next day. So thank you very much for your attention, and make sure there was a playlist that came up during this video. There's more links below, and you can absolutely follow along and make sure that you don't miss anything by subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications on the channel. Okay? Cur magat agus slán go fóill.